Phil James, and this is my progressive podcast. I'm extremely high right now because I have to take full extract cannabis oil. I have to take that because I was diagnosed with brain cancer. I find that alongside chemotherapy and a change in my diet, I can get back into remission because I had eight clear scans before this one recurrence. So I've proven that I can do this, and I also maintain that failure is not an option. I'm completely shocked what's happening in the news at the moment. Waking up and seeing that clip of Julian Assange being taken out of that embassy after God knows how long he's been in there. I mean, that's kind of like a whole decade, right, of just illegitimate action by the UK government and the, just colluding with the US Clinton machine kind of thing. This whole thing about the Clinton machine, Clintons have just got to let it go. That their time is gone. Yeah, it's not the 90s where you can control what happens on TV. Their ideology is completely incompatible with what's happening with technology. So, obviously, with AI improving exponentially, and simulations, of course. I just think the establishment really underestimates how popular the resistance is. And where the resistance really lies, because I've been really impressed by the audience that has been watching the discourse between various podcasters like Jamal Thomas, his Progressive Soapbox, Carl Kalinske, and what's that, Secular Talk, I think it's called, or the Carl Kalinske Show, and of course the Jimmy Dore Show, because all these guys got it right. They didn't fall for that rubbish, just that total nothing burger distraction that just gave really easy gullible people, gave the apathetic such a complete misunderstanding of the truth of what's happening in the economy and what is happening with how their lives are going to be going forward. I mean, it's crazy when I think what my treatment's been like, having cancer, having MRIs, things like that, and seeing a consultant. It's just, I pay that in tax, and it's just a small percentage of my wage, each month. It's like, that's a pretty damn good deal, damn good return if I was to be unlucky enough to spend the night in hospital, that I wouldn't be charged for that. You know, because it's like it's already paid for. We've already put it in the kitty. People need to understand that this. There's no debate anymore in terms of this whole neoliberal and neocon sort of driven Clinton corporatist is that kind of autocracy or whatever you call it. Those people that are to the right, well, not to the right, but just aren't progressive. And it's like, by definition, why would you want to be the opposite of progressive? I mean, how would you run a positive campaign? Because if you're not for progress, then you're not for people. So what are you actually offering? You know, neoliberalism has been found out because people know it means we're offering you nothing. Your freedoms will be taken, your wages will go down, but don't worry, the big corporations will give them massive tax breaks that you'll pay for. You see, that's the kind of BS that we've seen from neoliberalism, and it doesn't fool anyone anymore. It's the cat is out of the bag. You know, the genie is out of the bottle, and you just can't force it back in like that. You know, when people know that they've been frauded or they've fallen for a lie, it doesn't take long before the progressive community gets scent of the truth. You know, I don't see any progressive journalists jumping the gun. For example, if you look at a really progressive journalist like Jimmy Dore, he didn't fall for that absolute garbage. He was mocked for it. It caused rifts and these divides and splits and stuff, but it was so stupid because he wasn't the minority. The fact is, everybody now agrees with Jimmy Dore about what's happening, and we can see what's going on already with this resistance that we've seen from the Young Turks over Tulsi Gabbard. How futile! It's so futile because it's so obvious, and everybody knows it. And so, just big congrats to Jamal Thomas, Gordon Dimmock, and Jimmy Dore for just sticking to the truth, and keeping it pure like that. Because when it comes to integrity and the truth, it doesn't get any better than Julian Assange. And you know what has happened to him. It is a insult to humanity. It is an insult to decency. It is basically like the establishment throwing a cold bucket of sick all over progressives. Nobody is thankful for that. That is not something that progressives are just going to sit down and take, progressives are going to fight back. And I think that's pretty obvious with we've seen how somebody like AOC can just run rings around most of the people that completely oppose what she stands for. And then again, that brings me back to the word progressive. Oppose what this progressive stands for. So she stands for progress, so it's like position against that. Are you against progress? Because this is progress for humanity, and it's like we're all part of that, right? So we want it to just get better and better, not stay confined to this McCarthy, like this terrible, unsustainable McCarthyism that just keeps going, of this perpetual war over and over again. It's just flawed thinking. It's unsustainable, and now is the best time to get off that ride before it crashes. We all saw it happen in 2009, I guess, shortly after Obama became president. You know, he ran as a progressive, but you know, that was a lie. He wasn't a progressive, he was a neoliberal corporatist, and he was bought and paid for. And you know, so it's like he lied his way into power just as much as Trump lied his way into power, but it's just Trump lied from the right, and obviously Obama lied from the left, and that's why it's both it both seems like there's a populist thing going on there, but it's very much the corporatists that are in the neoliberal class. They're not really comfortable with progressive policies, so I kind of just think who's going to vote for them? What majority is that? Wealth disparity has never been this large. There is a huge gulf in wealth between like the super rich and people that are, say, upper middle class, because it just seems like there isn't a middle class at all. It seems like everything's being sucked up, like this dash for inflation. I can see it everywhere. You see it how the housing market was fair for the baby boomers, but is completely unfair for like my generation, millennials. Right, I should probably cut this short then, because it'll take forever to upload. Thanks again for all the support recently. It feels great to be off chemo now. Got another day to do some fixes for work on my shark skeleton, but I'll get that done. Right, thanks very much for your support, and have a good night. See ya.